First 12 months of the pandemic by researchers, it's found that the overall risk of children and teenagers dying from COVID-19 is about 1 in 500,000. Where do you sit when it comes to vaccinating children? What are people saying to you? No one's listening. Don't worry, Matt. Not at all. It's fine. See you soon. OK, speak later.
Let's see, 6:46 time now. 50,000 buildings are knocked down in the UK every year and then replaced by new, more eco-friendly homes and offices.
The Royal Institute of British Architects is calling for an end to this kind of demolition because it doesn't take into account the energy that was used to create the bricks, concrete and steel in the first place. Our environment correspondent Roger Harrabin explains.
Now is 6:50. The further the England team have progressed in the Euros, the more we've heard three particular songs. You know, the ones which have become the soundtrack to the Three Lions' journey to the final.
The tunes have all re-entered the charts on the back of the team's success. And, just as a warning, if they're not already stuck in your head, they're about to be.
There's some good scenes,
which is your favourite? It really wasn't that difficult.
I'm not going to answer that because I think the thing is, when you see all those scenes, the people singing them, it's a moment in time, isn't it? If you were any of those places, that would be your favourite. If that was a moment in time, that would be
if all three were to play in the same place, which would be your favourite?
No, it'll obviously be the one by Atomic Kitten, won't it? Because we're speaking to Natalie Hamilton later on this morning, just after 8 o'clock. Here on Breakfast.
That should be fun. 8 minutes to 7 is the time. A 98-year-old British woman has been awarded France's highest honour for her top-secret wartime work.
Betty Webb was stationed at Bletchley Park during the Second World War, decrypting enemy messages. She's now received the Legion d'Honneur for her services, as Joan Whittle reports.
5 minutes with the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps. That's at 7:30.
The NHS COVID app for England and Wales could be updated to make it less sensitive.
In the last week of June, more than 300,000 people were pinged and asked to self-isolate. Let's talk about this with... The Olympic flame has arrived in Tokyo hours after Japan declared a state of emergency due to rising cases of coronavirus.
6 minutes past 7 is the time now. Let's take a moment and have a look at the weather. Matt's got all the details for us right now. Morning, Matt.
Oh, what a gorgeous picture.
Good morning. Yes.
24 minutes past 7 is the time. You may remember last month we spoke to 5 military veterans with life-changing injuries who are taking on the challenge of kayaking from Land's End to John O'Groats.
Now they are hoping to...
And looking pretty calm, the water behind you, which is good news.
Would you get the guys to paddle off into that wonderful distance there? Can we just stay with you for a moment and watch? Because
Charlie's asking you to paddle off and give us a... They can't give you...
Isn't it just?
Calm before the storm, maybe. Of course, we've got, Euros fever gripping England. Businesses are desperately trying to, keep up with the demand for stuff that's related to the Euros.
Yeah, and how are bakeries adapting? Ben's asking that question in Bolton for us this morning. Show us round, Ben. How's things?
Morning. With amber list countries, is this not an admission that actually... We're now at the point where we have to accept that new variants will come in, if you come from an amber list country particularly. But if we're testing for it, at least we found it, but they are coming in. Is that the world we have to get used to now?
Yeah, I mean,
Has this government now accepted that there will be a new variant where you want to open up travel, so a new variant will come in now?
Yeah, and
than the UK. Why do I have to quarantine on my arrival into the UK when double jab people in the UK coming from Italy don't have to?
The time is 7:49 on a Friday morning. Matt, let's have a look at the weather for today, maybe across the weekend as well.
Morning.
Thanks, Matt. 7:50. So, Jen, I'm looking at the picture behind you. What's going? A bit of warm up. This is.
You see, the International Olympic Committee has dealt with this. And wants out. It's brilliant. A gold medalist.
However this works out, that remains an incredible thing.
Forget the cycling. For anyone who hasn't been into the Olympics yet, top event to watch. It's going to be the most exciting.
Interesting. Good to see you here this morning.
Callum, thank you so much. Headlines are coming up. Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast. You're with Charlie State and Naga Munchetty.
Our headlines. Good morning, it's Friday the 9th of July. Our top story today. Travel companies are reporting a huge surge in demand for flights and holidays after the government announced changes to quarantine rules.
In 10 days, anyone in England who's double jabbed can visit an amber list country without having to self-isolate upon return. The easing of restrictions is already providing a big boost for the travel industry.
Past 8 is the time now.
Very generous of you to give those awards out. They come few and far between. The risk of severe illness or death from COVID-19 is extremely low for young people. This is according to a new study by leading academic. England require the same skills as teaching assistants and police community support officers. However, they're paid £7,000 a year less, according to research by Integrated Community Care.
The charity says underfunding makes it difficult to recruit staff. The government says it will publish plans to reform adult social care by the end of the year. Here's our social affairs correspondent, Alison Holt. Where are you? There you are.
There he is.
They were, wasn't it? You can see it straight away. Usually, sometimes you have to squint a little bit.
Do.
Well, you know, it's just easy.
Do you?
Isn't it? Really?
You pretend.
Can't see it? The face of something in a pizza?
Programme.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
The power of Matt Graveling to just be able to...
Oh, the Sweet Caroline. Cue the band, just like that.
Who gets
Nicely
that?
done.
We're going to have more of the Coldstream Guards, of course, for you. We're going to get them to play us out of the programme at 9:10.
Let's speak now to Natasha Hamilton from Atomic Kitten. Morning, Natasha. Could you hear that? Could you hear the Coldstream Guards just a moment ago? There you have the Coldstream Guards playing their thing. Football's coming home, and then we have the Atomic Kitten song as well. All these songs that have been adopted over the years and adapted as the years go by. It's gone now completely.
Gone.
There are worse images to finish on, given the theme of what's going on. The cake, the flag cake.
The football cake.
The football cake.
The football cake, and then you had the gingerbread. I'm assuming they were gingerbread people.
Yeah, and
with
if I
the
remember
England
rightly,
shirt.
The BAPs are specifically done with football. They're football, aren't they? Which is why they look like football. So they're done specially for the occasion. Apologies, Ben's picture just disappeared. It happens sometimes. 8:25. Time now to get the news, travel, and the weather where you are.
Good morning. You're watching Breakfast with Charlie State and Naga Munchetty.
Time just come up to 8:30. Morning Live follows us on BBC One a little later on. Rav and Oti are there.
Djokovic hoping to reach his third consecutive Wimbledon final today. He's aiming to win his 20th Grand Slam.
Yes, there are records at stake here because if he were to do it, it brings him level with Federer and Nadal. It is an extraordinary time in tennis.
Yeah, so of course the singles final at the weekend. We are joined now by former British #1, Laura Robson. Laura, hello.
Morning.
Hi. I tell you what, Wimbledon's been fantastic so far, hasn't it?
It really has. I think on the women's side in particular yesterday, both matches were fantastic, and I'm especially looking forward to the women's final because it's a bit more open.
Appears that way. And there is that...
I know you've been spending quite a bit of time at Wimbledon, obviously doing the commentary and whatever. Tell us a bit about the atmosphere there at the moment, because obviously we're in very unusual times. They started with fewer crowds, didn't they? And now that's been upped. What's the atmosphere like, you know, on those show courts when the players come out? How's that feeling at the moment? The women's final for us. I mean, we've got a great occasion on our hands, haven't we? And maybe for some people who only watch Wimbledon, because there are viewers like that of tennis who come to the occasion. Tell us about these two contestants, what they bring to the court.
Just a tip if you want to take it. Hot honey, lemon and fresh ginger, boiling water. Boiling water. Have loads of those
I'll
beside
do that right
you.
now.
It's really soothing and it will keep you going. You can't go wrong with a good bit of fresh ginger.
Thank you.
We've been spoilt for sport, haven't we? I mean, it's like, what do you watch next? And there has been so many brilliant incidents. You imagine commentating on that day after day after day, and the excitement is already there. You don't even have to do anything.
Especially when it's been away for so long.
Yeah.
You know, those guys who commentate on the tennis, Wimbledon, you know, hadn't happened. Lo and behold, they have it. What a thing.
Brilliant.
Gargling, didn't people used to gargle a lot, didn't they, to get their throats
Salt
better?
water
Fallen
gargle.
out of fashion, I think, gargling.
Well, I just don't think we have to talk about it a lot, do we? The first thing in the morning.
Don't know, Matt. What do you think?
I don't fancy salt.
And lemon and fresh ginger. Don't ever drink salt water. That'll make you ill.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, a lot of people will be looking at that very closely.
Take them where we can get them.
Matt, see you
Thanks, Matt.
tomorrow?
Nope, I'll see you next week.
OK, take care.
Have a good weekend.
Let's see, time now is 8:48. 50,000 buildings are knocked down in the UK every year and replaced by new, more eco-friendly homes and offices.
The Royal Institute of British Architects is calling for an end to this kind of demolition because it doesn't take into account the energy that was used to create the bricks, concrete and steel in the first place. Here's more from our environment correspondent, Roger Harrabin. About you getting yourself back in your ear, but it's interesting you talk about the weight because I listened to the podcast that you both have done together, and in that podcast you both say that very rarely has it been addressed that Zand, and you look lovely, by the way, seeing how you were really mean over dinner times and that with your poor younger brother, but you've had very different paths when it comes to food, hasn't it, and the effect it's had on your body.
You can see you're very close. And part of the story, in a way, is about, you know, caring for your brother. Now, what I heard, Xander, was that clearly there's a serious emotional and psychological element to this. And I think you've been pretty open about your own concerns and asking yourself questions about, you know, why you were putting on weight and why you were that much bigger than your brother. And that's, you know, that got the takeaway for some people about your story is, and given what you were just saying about how you talk to each other, I don't know, you know, there'll be people, we know there's an obesity problem in the UK. A lot of, 60% of people are overweight. And a conversation, like a first conversation saying to someone, you know, what about your weight? You know, these are very delicate, difficult and important conversations, aren't they?